Hello and welcome to 5 Minute Travel Tips. I'm your host Neil Patil from Veena World. Today let's talk about frustrations at the airport and how to overcome them. I want to start by asking you to reflect on your last flying experience. How did you feel when you were boarding the plane? What do you remember from your in-flight experience the most? Was it a pleasant one or did something happen which ruined your mood completely? For many of us, flying today is just the fastest way of getting from point A to point B. For some, it's about finding the cheapest fare no matter the duration of the journey. If you are like my wife Heta, your main goal is to minimize the idle time at the airport. She will be forever optimizing her time of arrival at the airport such that she reaches her gate precisely when her boarding zone is called. She will never check in a bag to avoid check-in queues and baggage belts. If you are a flight nerd like me, then flying for you is about the experience, appreciating the nuances of each airport, each airline, each aircraft, and each flight route. Regardless of which category you fall into, one thing is inevitable. The rate at which Indian aviation is progressing, more people are going to take more flights every year. This also means more crowded airports, fuller planes, and a greater load overall on airport systems. When I fly these days, I see a lot of travelers frustrated across the four phases of their flying experience: pre airport, pre flight, in flight, and post flight. So let me illustrate. Pre flight frustrations. The factors that cause anxiety before you even arrive at the airport. The Uber or Ola driver taking a wrong turn, Google Maps underestimating the traffic, finding a traffic jam at a key junction, or just mundane things like being unable to find your wallet when you're supposed to leave. Now you are worried whether you'll make it before check-in or gate closes. Worse yet, you find that after making it through all this anxiety, your flight has been delayed by 3 hours. Pre-flight frustrations can especially ruin your mood because they are not always about you. They are often due to another passenger making life difficult for other flyers. Take security check. Regardless of the airport you are at, you will always find 3 stars. 1. That person who is foreign to the concept of queues and just tries to cut to the front of the line. 2. One who has indeed arrived late and is skipping all queues, telling everyone diligently waiting in line that their boarding has started and that they have no choice but to skip queues. 3. The one pushing the X-ray machine trays of other passengers away and only trying to get their tray to the front of the queue. Another major cause of pre-flight frustration are crazy long lines at check-in or even at the boarding gate. This can make many of us, including myself, feel edgy or snappy. If that wasn't enough, you reach boarding and see a long line form at the gate before boarding even starts, or people trying to board in the wrong zone. You finally get to your seat, but the cabin space above is so full that you now have to go 10 rows behind to store your bag. Heta's biggest frustration? Meticulously packing all her travel needs into a cabin bag only to be told at the boarding gate that she needs to check in her bag, which is directly also related to a post-flight frustration that I will discuss next. Then you realize you have a middle seat on a 14-hour flight, or that your family members are split up. You look around and see a tall or large person struggling to fit in an economy seat, or a vegetarian who finds out only non-veg meals are left on the flight. You take off and realize your entertainment system has no good content or is broken, and you forgot to download your movies or podcasts. Finally, the post-flight frustrations: hour-long immigration queues, bags taking forever to reach the belt, bag arriving damaged or drenched from the rain, or worst of all, your bag not making it to your destination at all, leaving you with absolutely nothing for your trip. And after that whole ordeal, having to coordinate with your Uber or Ola driver with the complicated airport signage to just feel relieved to be done with it all. It is safe to say that there is an abundance of scenarios that can sour our flying experience, which inevitably leads to a bad start to a trip, be it for work or for leisure. With the advancement of science and technology that enables transportation at 37,000 feet in the air, our flying experience should have us feeling like we are on cloud 9. While I can appreciate that many factors in the flying experience are out of our control, I certainly believe that there are many things that we can do to improve our experience and that of our co-travelers. Based on the airline you choose, there are many steps you can take to minimize frustrations and increase delight. If you are an impatient traveler like Heta, get priority check-in and boarding and ensure you have DigiYatra through security. have a flight with a short layover, get travel insurance that covers delayed luggage. Picky about your food like me? Pre-book your meal and you have something to look forward to. Finally, the one step that costs nothing. Just plan to arrive at the airport with an extra 30 minutes to spare for any eventuality. After a horrific sequence of events that led her to miss a flight, Heta has finally started putting this into practice and has found Zen in her flight experience. So here are some of the things on my personal checklist to ensure that each and every flight is a fun one. Pre-book your meal. I can't stress this enough. If you are flying to countries like Japan or South Korea and are a vegetarian or have any other dietary limitations or preferences, make sure you select a meal of your choice. These flights generally have limited vegetarian meals which run out quickly. Nothing ruins a flight more than being left hangry. Check for airline add-ons. Akasa's priority check-in and Indigo's fast-track service can ensure super fast check-in and sometimes priority boarding too. Skip the queues, be the first one on the plane and keep your cabin bag where it suits best. Check the validity of your travel insurance. This often can come in handy for lost or damaged baggage. Check in online and early. I usually put a reminder on my phone when I book a flight for when the check-in opens. Select a seat of your choice and keep your boarding pass handy. Check Google Maps and multiply by 1.5. I always assume it's going to take 1.5x the time Google Maps estimates to reach the airport and leave accordingly. This leaves enough time for a wrong turn or sudden change in traffic patterns. The next one, set up DigiYatra. Load the boarding pass for your flight on the app so entry into the airport is hands-free and quick. This also ensures a dedicated security check line. Next up, plan for security screening. I keep my electronics easily accessible to remove at security checks. I even dress for it, avoiding belts and wearing easy to remove shoes. Heta and I are now extra mindful at security, noting each of the requirements and taking an extra minute to ensure we remove all of the items asked for. Because too often, we have found our bags pulled up for additional screening. Nothing is more frustrating than waiting in yet another line for additional screening when it can be avoided. So this is the checklist that I have created based on my own frustrations and observations. So let me now come back to what I started the episode with, your last flying experience. What were some of your frustrations? If there were many, why not change this with your next flight? So go on, get your checklist ready. Let me know on neil@veenaworld.com, neil@veenaworld.com, what your flying experience is like. I would love to hear about your experience. Thank you for listening to today's episode of 5-Minute Travel Tips. I will see you next week with another fun topic. Until then, happy travels. Bye.